Big Ten bad, Big Ten good, Big Ten the best. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Missed opportunity for the Big Ten in the college football playoff, of course. Michigan falls as a touchdown plus favorite to TCU in a crazy, wild football game. And, of course, Ohio State played a tremendous game, but came up just short on a missed field goal at the gun against Georgia. So the Big Ten comes up a big loser in the college football playoff, but came that close to securing bowl spots in the national championship game, and it could have been a banner, huge, enormous year for the Big Ten, one in which we could possibly have made the claim based on the results on the field for the Big Ten being the best. But let's look at the true results, the reality of what happened to the Big Ten, good and bad, as we break it down. We need 5,000 views to continue this series. We hope that you enjoy our breakdowns of all the conferences. We have made our way through the ACC and the Big 12. Check out those videos. And again, 5,000 needed here to continue our series. Otherwise, big waste of time. As you know by now, we first go to the seedings because they put the results of the games into context. For the Big Ten, of course, Michigan, the champion, Ohio State at number 2, Penn State at number 3, and then the big drop-off as those three teams did not lose to any other teams in the conference. Purdue, the Big Ten Western Division champion at number 4. These are not my opinion. Let's keep that in mind. This is based on the standings and the actual seedings in the conference, with Illinois at number 5, Iowa 6, Minnesota 7, followed by Maryland, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Nebraska at 11, Indiana, Rutgers, and Northwestern, who had a just deplorable season. Put a blanket between over numbers 4 through 10, and there you have the Big Ten. It's the top 3, then it's everybody else, and 4 through 10 put a blanket over those 7 teams. In the bowls, the Big Ten came very close to having a banner bowl season, but it all washed out at 5-4 as Illinois lost at the gun, Ohio State lost at the gun, Michigan lost on the last possession as well. Could have been huge for the Big Ten, but 5-4, all those games played against the Power 5. Non-conference play for the Big Ten, the good and the bad, 37-14 is what it adds up to. 10-10 mark against the Power 5, and a very weak performance out of the Big Ten in September and October against the rest of the conferences. Most of their wins were completely inconsequential, and they lost the better matchups out of conference for the most part. Against the group of 5, the Big Ten went 19-3, and the Big Ten had the great distinguishment of being the only Power 5 conference to lose to an FCS team. Thank you, Northwestern. Great job. And Northwestern just, again, a ridiculously bad season, because we note some of the better or more significant non-Power 5 games. Maryland did notch a win against a 7-6 SMU team, but besides that, little there in the Big Ten's column favorably. They just basically beat all the teams that you're supposed to beat. And then the lows. Georgia Southern defeated Nebraska. That was the ouster of Scott Frost, of course. Northwestern was a disaster unto itself, losing to Miami of Ohio. And also there is the FCS loss to Illinois State. Indiana could have lost to Western Kentucky, survived on a missed field goal before overtime. And then the Hoosiers also lost a group of 5 game against Cincinnati. Let's look at the Big Ten's 10 wins against the Power 5 and see the quality of those victories. It starts with Ohio State against Notre Dame, as Michigan defeated no Power 5 teams, as the Wolverines, of course, did not play anyone with a pulse in the non-conference play, and then also just played the one college football playoff game and lost that. So you've got to go to Ohio State for the best win in the conference, defeating Notre Dame. The Buckeyes, a 2 seed. Notre Dame, we are estimating here's a top 15 to 20 team in the country, as a number 4 seed. Buckeyes earned 12 points for the Big Ten. We've outlined the scoring system in other videos. It's 14 points is the base, and then it's added to or subtracted from based on the seeding factor. Penn State had a nice roll of 2 wins against Utah in the Rose Bowl, of course, and against Auburn. So the Big Ten numbered 3 seed defeats the Pac-12 champion. Good win for the Big Ten. Otherwise, it's a lot of basic wins against inferior foes. For the most part, Illinois over a bad Virginia team. Iowa with a nice win in bowl play against Kentucky. Ditto Minnesota over Syracuse. And Wisconsin with a win against Oklahoma State as a 9 seed over a 5 seed from the Big 12. So nice win for the Big Ten, as well as Maryland, NC State. The middle tier, for as poorly as the Big Ten fared, especially the Western Division, during non-conference play regular season. They made up for it during bowl play. Rutgers with a Week 1 win against Boston College. On the losing end of things, again, excruciating losses by Michigan and Ohio State in the national semifinals. Otherwise, we're talking about the Big Ten making a claim as the best conference in college football. Purdue gets blasted by LSU in a bowl game. Purdue also lost to Syracuse in regular season play in an excruciating fashion on the last play of the game. There you see the Illinois loss to Mississippi State. That was basically on the last play of the game, as well as the Illini go down to the Bulldogs, both 5 seeds out of the Big Ten and the SEC. Iowa with a bad non-conference loss to the worst team in the Big 12, Iowa State. Pac-12 losses here by Wisconsin and Michigan State, losing to Washington State. Of course, those looked worse at the time of the loss than they do now, as both of those teams from the Pac-12 were higher seeds in their conferences. And there you see the point totals there. Nebraska blasted by 35 points to a pretty marginal Oklahoma team, as it turned out. Northwestern lost to Duke. Now let's put the results into context. Based on seeding differential, it basically came out almost even, as the Big Ten was outseeded by those point totals by 11, and then the point differential on the scoreboard. We also wanted to take that into account to see the dominance of play by the conference against its Power 5 opponents, in the Big Ten basically even, outscoring in those 20 games against the Power 5 its opponents by 8 points. That's how it adds up for the Big Ten, a very marginal showing. Really good in bowl play by the mid-tier teams. Could have been excellent, but Ohio State and Michigan let down the conference, and that's how it all stands. Your comments below on the Big Ten. Where does it rank among the Power 5? We will let you know. Get us to 5,000 views. We want to continue our series right here at the Voice of College Football.